Okay, we're going to work on lead departures with Dolly, my Missouri Foxtrotter, and your prerequisite is to be able to canter several times around the arena. Now, I do things a little different. I'm totally not dependent upon a fence. What I do is I begin to yield the hindquarters that I want her to push off of, and then I open the door with my arm and by taking my leg off on the one I want her to lead off with, the front. Here I am, I'm going to push that left hindquarter off, which she's going to push off of, and open the door by taking my leg off of her on the right and holding my right hand out to open the door. I'm pushing her right hindquarters and doing the same thing. I open my left hand and take my left leg off of her. Okay, so it's pretty extreme, but she totally knows which hind leg to use. She's going to use the left hind leg right here. And I'm going to open the door to the right by taking my right hand and holding my rein out and getting my right leg off of her. Right leg is yielding the hindquarters. I draw her down to a stop, and then left hand and left leg opens the door. And she might have missed the lead there. Here, and there I just did it very slightly because I do have her trained where I can almost do it just going straight. Yield the right hindquarters, which she'll push off of, open the left door. So you do it extreme. And now my drone decided that it was going home because it had a low battery. So I come in from a different angle after I've got a different battery. And, you know, the other thing you should have established first is a good gate. But here you can see I'm gating along because you can, and then you couldn't even see that. So I gave her the same cues. All I did was touch her left hindquarter and just kind of lift the right shoulder, shift my weight into the right stirrup, and she knew to take off into the right lead. And you'll notice that my body's not leaning too much. My body shouldn't lean at all, but every now and then you see it lean. So we're going to do the right lead. So we're actually pulling her around in a circle. Then I'm pushing on the left hindquarters, and you'll see as I open the door, you can clearly see my hand opening up on that right side. And I take my leg off of her, which you can also see that. Now here I'm going to do a left lead. I draw her down to a stop, then I push her hindquarters around, then I open the door, okay? So I'm already giving her the hindquarter signal, and what this leads to is this leads to her knowing that when I start messing with that hindquarter, that's the one I want her to push off of. And you'll be able to see it in slow motion right here. You'll be able to see me begin to draw her down. First, I'm going to canter around here, okay? And I got her in that lead by disengaging the left hindquarter, and then I just slightly shift my foot into the lead stirrup, take my leg off of her, hold my hand out, and that puts her in the lead. Now, the cues are extreme starting out, okay? But the cues are so extreme that there's no mistaking what you're asking for, and you're not dependent upon a fence line or anything. You're dependent on cues. And so here we go. We're going to draw her down in slow motion, and you'll be able to see it. So I've drawn her to a stop, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm in slow motion. I'm in slow motion, and I'm still in slow motion. And here we go. We're going to push. My left leg is just now beginning to touch her on the left hindquarter. And see how she's stepping under herself? She is totally disengaging that left hindquarter. So she's placing it, and when I get ready for her to push into the right lead, her left hindquarter is going to be the one that she is lifting up off the ground to use. It is the one that is disengaged the most. Here, you can see my hand. I open it up. I take that rein outward, okay? And I'm barely leaning. She's actually leaning, so we're going to work on that. But that pushing around with the hindquarter in the completely opposite direction got the hindquarter that I wanted being used stepping under, okay, like it's supposed to do. It got it pushing off, and so when I opened the door and took my leg off of her on the right side, and then she departed into the correct lead, and I've got her to where I can depart in this lead almost from a standstill, or I can depart in this lead while I'm going. But this is the beginning, and your prerequisites are for your horse to understand what you're asking for. When you yield the hindquarters, when you draw her to a stop and pull her nose around like that, now you're pushing on the hindquarters. Right there, you're pushing on the hindquarters. Right leg is pushing the hindquarters. Left arm opens up. You see that? And just a slight shift of my weight, my left leg is off of her, which frees up the left shoulder, and she takes off on the correct lead, cantering on the correct lead. Now, I ran out of battery space, and so I ran out of battery, and I ran out of storage space, but it's good. So I will do another video showing how these same cues will begin to work on a straight line. I'm disengaging the left hindquarters so that I can take off on the right lead. There you go. But it's important that after the disengaging of the hindquarters on the opposite side, okay, because you're going to use the hindquarters on the left for a right lead. So after you have put your foot all over them, on the left hindquarters, you really have to open up the door. Sometimes you can lift your hand up and out to really free up that shoulder. And as you ask for the canter with your kiss or a cluck or whatever you use, then they're going to depart out on that free shoulder. And this is how I have taught Dolly to do correct lead departures, and I don't have a flying lead change on her, but I almost do. And here the same thing, I disengage the left hindquarter, open the door on the right shoulder, and just shifted my weight. Didn't lean, but shifted my weight.